Hello everyone, it's time to blast off into space with the Beta Access 2.0 sci-fi battle map style. We're going to be creating a spaceship, and it's going to be a mix between both the Human Alliance and the Slimean Horrificus packs. I'm super excited about this, and we're also going to be using the line and shape tools. Super excited for this, so let's just jump right in. First and foremost, you got to create a new map. I'm going to choose the sci-fi style. I'm going to using a regular landscape aspect ratio. It's important to choose the right aspect ratio because you want to have, if you have a particular orientation for your ship in which direction it's facing. Since we're using landscape, the ship's going to go from left to right or right to left. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. First, I like to turn on the grid. The grid is going to help you to set a scale. Okay. Now, because we're making a spaceship, I'm not going to make a massive one. I'm just going to make a medium-sized one. So that grid right there is going to represent 5 square feet per segment. After I've done that, I want to sit down and I want to think about how I want to put together the ship. And what I like to generally do is just use a letter from the alphabet, and that will kind of represent the overall shape of the ship. And I really like the letter T a lot, and I think I'm going to use this right here as kind of the guide right here. So it's going to look like this. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to have the top of the T is going to be where the housing and where the ship's command center is. And in the back, the engines will be at the bottom part of the T. So just picking a general shape. Sometimes you don't know like what kind of ship, what's going to be the shape. Guess what? Just picking a letter and then rotating it and moving it around gives you the general idea. The ship is not obviously going to be a T, but similar to that shape. So first, what we'll end up doing is we're going to want to assemble the ship. So we're going to open up the catalog, O key, go ahead and just click open catalog, or you can press the F key. Once it opens up, we're going to go ahead and pick the ships. Now, in the left panel, you'll see that there is the sci-fi battle map style right there, and there's a list of the packs. So I'll go ahead and go Human Alliance Fleet, and I've got this ship right here. And we're going to go ahead and just use this for our ship design. So this will be like the front of the ship right here. Now, when of course you open up these stamps, these are scaled up pretty big. So depending on where you're at, you might want to scale it down a little bit. If you just hold down Shift key, mouse scroll wheel, it will scale it down. Okay, and that looks like that cockpit right there is about 15, 20 feet. So that's pretty decent size. It's not tiny, but it's not massive either. It's all about scaling. So what you do first is you put together the hull. We're going to do the exterior first. Once the exterior is built, then we'll go ahead and use the shape tool to build the interior part. So you have both exterior and interior. And what I totally recommend is that you use the grid to line things up, because we're also going to use a snap to grid function when we use the shape and the line tools, so that way, when I go ahead to make the interior, it's lined up to the grid with the ship. And of course, we'll also group the ship, so just in case it's not perfectly lined up when we're playing around with the shape and line tools, we'll be able to move the ship around to make sure that it lines up correctly. So now we'll go in and we're going to find more pieces. What's really nice is that you can go into the hamburger menu in the top right corner there and say expand all assets, and it'll show me everything that I want to work with. I'm not 100% sold on the orange color, so we'll probably change the hue of this in a little bit. So we'll go ahead and create the T shape. And in fact, I don't really like this cockpit. We'll probably do something a little different here. We're going to create the ship going from left to right, the main part of the ship. So I'm going to piece a couple of these together. Remember, we're making kind of a T shape. I'll put this together here, making sure things are lined up with the grid. And I'll probably end up changing the color because I like doing different colors. That makes it more fun, doesn't it? Okay, let's keep going here. Let's take a look here. Now, sometimes I think a lot of people struggle with how exactly to, put together all these pieces, and it's not hard. You start with what's called the hull first, and it's basically the overall shape of it, which is where maybe there's all kinds of rooms and stuff like that. You'll start with that hall first, and then you can just add more pieces onto it to expand it. Okay, let's zoom out. I'm actually going to scale it down even smaller because it's always good to make sure that you have enough room to work with. We'll scale it. Now we got to figure out the T part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a part of the ship that goes off like this. And then we're going to end up putting on the extensions, all this other stuff as well. We'll put on the engines. You got to figure out how does the ship propel itself, right? So you need to have the thrusters or engines. So that will be necessary. Let's go ahead and scale these down a little bit smaller. There we go. I like that better. We're creating that T shape, right? Kind of like a hammerhead shark, right? Kind of fun. Okay. And then we can put the cockpit, and I think I'll put it on top like this. What I don't want is it to turn into like a cross. So I'll put the cockpit up here a little bit so it maintains that T shape that I like. I'm going to go ahead and move this aside. We want to put down some engines as well. So we'll go ahead and open up that catalog. There should be a series of engines here. Let's go with these large ones right here. Let's maybe have a total of 6 thrusters, 3 stacked on top of each other. Place one here, another one here, and then another one right here. There we go. Okay. All right. And of course, we'll have to line these up to make sure they're on right, and we can scale them down a little bit. They're kind of massive. There we go. And I'm going to show you all kinds of cool tricks about depth so that you can realize, like, hey, how do I make it look like this part of the ship is further down and this part of the ship is further up? We're going to be going over some really cool tricks on how to do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and push these a little bit further back. I really want to show that the ship has length. So we'll go ahead and put that right there. There are the thrusters. And we might even throw on a couple more pieces on the end here. Let's go ahead and throw down some decoration. Let's go ahead and throw down this on top right here. That looks good. This is the decorating stage. I like this stage quite a bit. We can start piecing things together. This is like one of my favorite parts. All right, let's take a look at what other shapes we have. Oh, I like this. This is cool. Right here. Oh, I like that. Beautiful. Love these shapes of these parts. So cool. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's flip this around the other way. I kind of like it that way. And then we'll place it on the end right here. There we go. Really get that nice shape. Let's go ahead and move it up one a little bit. Copy, paste. We're going to flip it. There we go. All right. So far, the shape is looking good. Let's see here. Is this the same size? I think so. Okay. Make sure this is set up right. There we go. Just trying to make sure that everything is lined up nicely. All right. So we're getting the shape down pretty good. There we go. I like it. This looks good. So let's go ahead and show how to make things look like there's some depth to it. So I'm going to select everything except for those 3 turbines, this piece right here in the green, and then I think we'll leave it at that. And I'm going to go to advanced settings, and we're going to go to color and bring the brightness down just a little bit. And the objective is to create this sense of depth. How is it that I make it look like those thrusters are on top and not on the bottom part? And all I'm doing is just dropping down the brightness a little bit while the cockpit and those engine pieces pop out a little bit because they're a little bit brighter. Okay, let's keep adding more pieces to the ship to give it a little bit more feel to it. So let's go ahead and open up that catalog. We'll go over these last pieces here. I like some of these fins right here. These are pretty interesting right here. We could throw down one right here and then just use that same one again, copy paste, and we'll rotate it and put it there. Now we've got these kind of like stabilizer type of fins. Put those on there. Let's go over, take a look at the other options too. Oh, there's some nice ones there. Let's go ahead and take a look what we can do here. Let's put one right there. And I'm going to also drop the brightness down on this one so it kind of matches in with it. There we go. Copy, paste. We're going to flip it. There we go. So the ship is starting to take a little bit more shape. We're adding more pieces to it. It's kind of coming together. You get the overall shape. It's got that T we were talking about. And we'll add on some last couple pieces. Those stabilizer-like fins, they look great, don't they? Okay, let's keep going. We might want to consider throwing in maybe some weapons as well. So we'll check that out. Let's also have it to where we'll have this little piece right here. We'll go down one. I want it to be below that. And then I'm going to make this a little bit darker. There we go. This is just to give it a little bit more interesting shape to it. So copy, paste. Copy, paste. There we go. Looking good. Making sure things are lined up. There we go. There we go. Let's take a step back and look at it. Yeah, it's looking good so far. It's looking good. Let's go ahead and select everything. And I'm going to go ahead to color and let's change the hue. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose complementary colors. So whatever color I choose, whether it's blue, orange, whatever, I want to pick the color that's complementary to it. So if I maybe choose red, then maybe I want to choose a yellow. If I want to make it green, maybe I could also use a yellow. I could throw in a green. I'm going to use these complementary colors so that way the colors aren't contrasting so far from each other, contrasting so much they don't look very good together. Now I kind of like blue. I think that's a good color, and then we can kind of decide what color the slimean part of the ship will be. Let's go ahead and add in just a couple more pieces to it, and then we'll call the exterior part done. I like where it's going. We might throw in some, maybe some weapons might be a good idea. So we can throw this on top. And what's really fun is you can take this weapon right here and you can rotate the cannon so that way everything's not in a perfectly straight line going left to right. It's a kind of an artistic thing. So just by having that rotate a little bit, that allows you to break that up. So let's go ahead and change the hue to make sure that it matches with the rest of the ship. There we go. And I want this to pop out more, so I'm going to make a heavy custom object shadow. I'm going to bring the intensity up, bring the blur way out. Now, and what shadows do is make things look like they pop out a little bit. You notice how that pops out a little bit more? You see what happens when I turn the shadow off? Kind of blends in with the ship, doesn't it? So custom object shadow allows things to do that. And we can also bring the brightness up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we have all the necessary components. We have thrusters, we have stabilizer fins, we've got a cockpit, we've got these two pieces on the side right here, the T part that's sticking out. I would say overall, this ship design looks nice, so I'm gonna go ahead and select it all. Actually, I'm gonna add one more thing at the top here. This row of 3 engines looks weird, so I think I might throw on one more thing to kind of make it look a little bit more interesting. So I'll go ahead and maybe pick, let's take a look here. Bunker hatch, no. Let's go back to sci-fi battle maps and we'll add maybe some kind of wall piece or something to the side that will kind of bring that together, because I think that looks kind of odd. So we'll go ahead and take a look here. I don't know if I want to use all these pieces. Let me use this real quick and take a look. I'm wondering if this would look better if I threw down this engine on top. Let's take a look. Custom object shadow. Again, I want this thing to pop out. So let's go ahead and bring the intensity up. And then we'll change that hue again. There we go. Let's see here. Do I want it to be facing this way? I kind of like that. I think that looks good. That looks a little bit better. Okay, now we can go ahead and create group. And I'm going to call it ship exterior. Okay, so we've created the human part of the ship. Now we want to make the slimean part of the ship, where it's been infesting and slowly taking over the ship and turning it more into a slimean horrificus ship. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I'm going to select it and I'm going to lock it because I don't want to accidentally select it. And now it's time to put together the slimean part. So we'll open up that catalog. And what we'll do is we'll go into just the slimean pack and then we can go ahead and pick the things that we want. The way that I want this kind of infection, this slimean part to grow is I want to take these kind of glowing like pustules here, a glowing spawn, and we're going to scale it up and make it big. And we're going to place it on one side of the ship, because what we're doing is we want a contrast between the human part and the slimean part. So I'll place this down. I want to pick the left or the right side of the ship. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to change the hue as well. So I'm going to turn off the shadow and let's change the hue. You know what? I think green looks really good, especially this bright part. And what you'll do is you'll create these big cluster of bubbles using the slimean bubble, these bubble things, and then you'll have tendrils growing away out of these bubbles. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pick some spots. I'm gonna make them nice and big. We'll pick one there. Let's go with make this a little bit smaller and put this one right here, and then I'll put even another one right there. Oh, let's keep going. Let's add one more big one right there. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to scale these. I'm going to make sure that the slime part is not going off, and I think I want to bring it up a couple layers. And now we want to put down the tendrils. So what I'll do is I'll just put down this. This is the line tool. And then once I'm going to put down a line, and then I'm going to edit the line. I'm going to open up the catalog, and we're going to choose this tentacle right here. And then I'm going to change the hue by just clicking Open Stroke Color Adjustments. It's the same thing as the hue, the saturation, the brightness, the contrast. So I open up these sliders right here, and I'm going to slide it until I get the green color. See how I've got green right there? That's perfect. And I want to make sure that it's set to the right layer as well. Let's go ahead and place it over the ship. Make sure that it's on top of the external part of the ship, but below the bubbles. Let's increase the stroke size. And what I'll do is I'll create a couple large tendrils first. So maybe 4 or 5 large tendrils, and then some medium-sized tendrils, and then some small tendrils. What's nice to have those various types of tendrils is to give it a more organic look, right? Not all the tendrils are going to be the same size. So let's have a couple that are coming out of the big one first. So I'll have it going here like this. There we go, one there. Let's put another one right here. Put another one right here. Let's put another one going over here like this. And let's add one more right there. Okay. Now we can go in and we're going to bring the stroke size down. Take it down to 100. Oopsie, undo that real quick. My bad. I had something selected when I did that. Go back to that line tool. Make sure it's set to the right size. And then let's do it again. Oopsie, let's not do, well, actually it being kind of growing onto the thing kind of looks kind of cool, right? There we go. Yep, looking good, looking good. There we go. It's starting to look like the ship is kind of being taken over by the slimean. There we go. All right, so you'll see that the tendrils are growing and kind of taking over the ship a little bit. I love that. That looks good. And then we can go in and now we can take the same bubbles here and we'll go with a really much smaller size this time. And I'm going to place them just kind of randomly on top of here, because remember the size differential, we got some big bubbles. Why not have some medium-sized bubbles and some tiny bubbles, right? Just to give that size variation. You'll see that it's kind of coming together. The ship looks like it is really being taken over aggressively, or maybe even slowly, by the slimeans. There we go. Let's take a closer look. I'm going to take a step back and look at it. Yeah, this looks good. I like it. So far, I am enjoying the direction this is going in. Let's keep adding in a couple more little green bubbles there. Perfect. Let's do that. All right. I like the way this is going. I also want to show a transition between the human part of the ship and the alien part of the ship. And so maybe I'll use a stamp and then change the blend mode and make it look like there's a transition. Like maybe the organic part of the ship, the slimean, it hasn't grown entirely on one part of the ship. So how am I going to do that? there's this awesome stamp called Tar Splatter, and I'm going to go ahead and place this down. Let's go ahead and put it down on the ship, and then I'm going to go ahead and change the blend mode. So let's go ahead and place it down, and what the blend mode will do will allow it to interact a little bit better. So I'm going to scroll through until I find the right one that I like. Oh, I like that. That looks nice. But let's make it green instead, if I can. It doesn't look like it will let me do that. Oh, that's right. Let's go back to normal. There we go. Let's change it to green. I think that looks about right. Here we go. Okay, and let's bring the opacity down a little bit as well. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put this on parts of the ship where the tentacles haven't entirely reached yet, but this is going to create this illusion that there's parts of the ship that are in transition as it's slowly being kind of taken over by the slimeans. So I'll create these little kind of little splatters. It kind of looks like it's, you know, like the saliva, or it looks like from that, those disgusting little patches right there is where the tendrils are going to continue to grow. So this is, again, kind of creating that transition. All right, let's put a couple more here. And, you know, I honestly would love to have some of the ship have a little bit, maybe more tendrils on there. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's select a tendril, and then we'll bring the size down even smaller. So we have a nice size here. Let's check to see how big it is. Yeah, it's decent size. There we go. Let's do that. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. In fact, let's go on. Let's undo that. Let's actually use a stamp to do that because it's a lot of lines. So I'll open up the catalog, and we're going to go ahead and pick these kind of tendrils right here. I think these will work out great. Let's make sure that their full opacity is on. I'm going to turn off the shadow, and I'm going to change the hue to that green. Remember? There we go. Perfect. I'm going to make sure that it goes down. It's going to be underneath. There we go. And I'm going to place these strategically emanating from the big pustules. There we go. So let's just keep going. I'll keep adding more. Let's put another one right here. There we go. That looks good. Let's throw on a couple more. Let's put one right here, kind of growing up on top of there. I like that. Let's keep going. All right, let's throw in one more right there. There we go. So yeah, you really have this nice transition where you have the slimean ship is being taken over. So what I'll do next then is select all of this stuff, all the slimean stuff, create group, and I'm going to call it slimean. So we have the ship exterior and we have the slimean stuff as well. So now that we have both of that stuff, I'm going to go ahead and group the whole thing, create group, and I'm just going to call it ship. There we go. And I'm going to scale it a little bit bigger because I want room. And in fact, I think I might even change the scale a little bit. I kind of feel like we need to bring the scale down to the default scale. So we'll put it down to 40 by 30. And now the ship is much bigger in scale because I've dropped that down. And it'll be easier to work with the shape tool because I've put that together. So let's make sure that the ship is in a negative layer. I'm going to lock it. The grid is on. Perfect. And we're just going to make sure that we kind of move it so it's lined up with the grid. There we go. So here comes the fun part. Let's go ahead and bring the opacity of the grid down. So exterior done. Now it's interior time. So how are we going to go about doing that? We'll open up the shape tool. We're going to go ahead and pick the shape rectangle. Then we're going to go ahead and pick the stroke that we want. Go into Sci-Fi Battle Maps. For now, I'm going to start, just like we did with the exterior, I'm going to start with human walls and human stamps. And then, just like we did with the exterior, we'll go ahead and add in the slimean stuff. So let's go ahead and kind of pick a wall that I want. I'm going to go ahead and pick Human Alliance. There's some nice walls here. This one's got like this kind of pipe, mechanical-like wall. We got this blue wall right here. All of them seem kind of nice. There's a smaller one right here. Let's use this slimmer one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and make sure that I snap to grid. And then I'm also going to just put down real quick to see what it looks like. So I see that the stamp's a little small, so we'll increase the stamp size. And let's add in a fill. So when I turn on fill, the default is color, but you can switch over to texture. And then I'll go ahead and pick a texture of my choice. Now, when you're doing interiors, there's some rules that I like to follow. I have my walls be brighter and I have my floor be darker. And the reason why that is because how are you going to make the walls look like it's not merged in? This looks like it's the floor. One thing is contrast, right? Things that are higher up are brighter, things that are further down are darker. So bright walls compared to dark flooring. This contrast is what gives the illusion of depth. Now, it's not the only thing. There's obviously this as well. At advanced stroke settings, there's a shadow. You go ahead and click that, and the shadow is also going to help to create depth. And so I'll increase the intensity, and you can kind of see the shadow around that edge there. Let me turn the shadow off so you can kind of see it. Shadow off or on, shadow off, shadow on. So you see the difference, right? It does kind of create a contrast there. I also want to change the size of the stroke. If you're wondering where to find those options, if you have stroke size, there's your texture color and then your options, stroke color adjustments, and advanced stroke options. Then when you go down to fill, you'll see the same options for the fill color adjustments and the advanced fill options. So if you don't have beta access yet, at least you'll see how the tool is being used, okay? Now that I've got the right parameters that I want, I might even increase the ship walls a little bit. Now that I've got the correct parameters, I can now drag it over the ship. Now there are a couple ways that you might want to decide how you want to make the interior. I'm going to do it into segments with airlocks connecting it, okay? So there's going to be 3 segments. The first segment's going to be the cockpit. The second is going to be the middle hall. It's going to be both a storage as well as access to the gun on top, or it could be automatic and then there's no manual. So the gun might not even need a gun person. And then we'll have a third section that kind of leads into the engine room area. So let's start with the first one, the cockpit. And what I'll do is I'm going to just bring the shape like this. And so here's the basic shape, but we can change this. Check this out. We can go in and change what's called the nodes, okay? And the nodes allows you to change the shape a little bit. So we'll go in here. We're going to click. You have to make sure that the shape is selected. You have to select nodes, and we're going to go ahead and place a couple nodes on here. See, let's undo that node. Let's put one here and put one here. Okay. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out a little bit. Let's actually bring it in a little bit more, and we can always change the shape, which is the beautiful part of it, right? And then we can select the whole thing. Bring it back a little bit more. There we go. And we're going to try to fit in with the shape. So we'll go back here to shape, fix this. Let's go down one. There we go. And we're going to continue to make sure that the shape is beginning to conform with the whole thing. Let's go ahead and make sure that the cockpit is the right size. There we go. There's our first compartment. And let's actually have some fun and make it an interesting shape. There we go. There we are. All right. So there is basically the cockpit. Let's take a look here. Let's actually make it a little bit smaller because I'm seeing the size, the cockpit that I used. There we go. This looks good. Just want to make sure that I got it right. Okay. Ooh, let's bring it down one. There we go. Okay. I think that shape looks about right for the cockpit. You could do more if you wanted to. You can connect all of these to make sure that they fit right. So if I wanted to, I could place down the one here like this, and you'll see that I'm kind of creating more and more of the shape. Let's go ahead and undo that. I'm just going to keep it at what it was. Let's undo it one more. There we go. So this is going to be the shape of the cockpit, and I'll have to change a little bit. I want to change the color adjustment for the wall. We can make it a green color. You can make it purple. You can just go ahead and take a look. You can actually make it black and white if you wanted to. You could just desaturate the whole thing. and bring the brightness up. Because gray and whites are a neutral color, they look good with any color. So blue, green, purple, whatever, those neutral colors work out great. Let's go ahead and create the next section. And what I'll do is I'll just actually copy and paste this room. Copy, paste. There's the next room. And I can adjust the room as I see fit. So I can go in again with here and change the nodes if I want. There you go. Not complex, super easy stuff. Put one there, and then we can put the next room as well right here. There we go. So there are your 3 rooms for the ship, and then we want to be able to create access to those 2 points. So we could put down a couple things. We could use a pipe. We could use all kinds of stuff to determine what it might be. Let's go back to the sci-fi maps, battle maps. And there's a whole bunch of options that we can choose from. I can type in pipe here. Pie. Anybody want some pie? All right, here we go. Oh, you know what? They don't have the one that I'm looking for. So let's instead go ahead and just connect these. So what I'll do is I got merge shape set up. Let's just drag across like this. There you go. And now you have kind of the entrance leading into these. Right here. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. Now we've connected them. Then I can put stairs in between these little hallways, this little section, a pie bomb. I love pie bombs. Who doesn't like a pie bomb? It's so delicious. Okay, now we've got this whole thing. I'm going to push it up several layers because what's really cool is you can change the layer of the floor or the fill. So I'll go ahead and bring the layer down a couple. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to be able to put stuff on the floor, but doesn't overlap the wall. And that is why I'm bringing the layer offset for the fill down a couple layers and bringing the walls up several layers. So now when I go in and if I type in a stair, I can put the stair down and make sure that it works right. So let's go ahead and put a stair right here. Bring the scale down. And you see how it's beneath the wall, but not above. Or it's beneath the walls, but above there. So that is very helpful. So we have one staircase leading into there, and we can put another stair right here, kind of leading into that room. So remember, you start with putting those things together, and then you create access, right? Once you've made the rooms, just like in the other streams we've mentioned, you make the basic shape of the walls, and then you create access. How is it that people are getting in and out of that area? Now, I also want to take this and I'm going to change the blend mode. I really want these to match in with the floor. So I'll change the blend mode to luminosity. I'll bring the brightness down a little bit. And now these walls kind of match in better with the floor, which is what I was aiming for. Now that that is done, I can now select all of this stuff. This is all the human stuff, create group, and put human interior. All right, well, let's wrap things up here by creating the next part. Let's put in the slimean part. And you'll notice here that all of the walls are human. So let's go ahead and change that up. Let's go ahead and put down a line shape. We're going to go into the catalog. And we'll go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom, which is where the slimean stuff is. And I'm seeing some organic wall. Here's some infested organic wall. Let's just select that. That works great. There we go. Let's change the stroke size. And of course, we'll change the hue as well. We want it to match, just like we did before. Oopsie, not the brightness. Saturation. Oopsie, not that either. Every single option except for the one I need. Love it. All right. So now we got some organics there. Perfect. I like that. Let's go with that. I'm going to go ahead and use the pen. And I'm going to cover up wherever there is that gross looking infested area. That's where I'm going to put these infected walls, right? It kind of makes the most sense, right? So I'll go ahead and just make sure that these parts of the walls are kind of covered up a little bit. with the slimean stuff. There we go. That looks good. That looks good. And then what we'll do is we'll do the same thing. We used this awesome. We might want to go ahead and create the like 1 or 2 big tendrils coming out from the wall with some pustules on it. And then we'll put down some small little tiny tendrils and stuff. So we'll start with this first. We got this tendril right here. We're going to use the line up, the free draw, not the pen, because the free draw is going to allow you to make that more organic look to it. So we'll go ahead and place this here. Now these are really big. So what I'll do is I'll change the stroke size. There we go. And I want to make sure that it's a layer below. There we go. You notice that it doesn't show it beneath that wall. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to bring the brightness down since we're on the inside. So we'll go ahead and, because it really pops out, that wall is so bright. So we'll bring the brightness down to make sure that that tendril kind of merges better with the ground. Okay, let's go ahead and change the stroke size a little bit smaller. There we go. Let's have a couple emanating out. One over here, one over here. And then we can change the stroke size as well. Get some small ones like this. Another one like this. Oh, those are way too small. Let's make them a little bit bigger. There we go, much better. And then we also can use those awesome little tendrils right here that we found. And of course, we'll have to change the brightness for this as well. Let's place it right here. There we go. And I'm going to place it a layer below. And I'll take these tendrils right here and I'll make sure that they are, let's select all 3 of them and make sure that they are a layer above. Okay, there we go. And then I can go ahead and take this. And I think this infested stuff needs to be a little bit darker. There we go. All right. You're starting to see the method that I use. It's very simple, right? The human part, then the infestation part. Not complex. Oopsie, I don't want that showing up. There we go. All right. There we go. It's coming together, right? There we go. The ship is starting to look infested. That was what I was aiming for. That's perfect. Okay, let's go and put this one here. There we go. It's starting to come together. Put that there. And I actually kind of feel that these walls right here probably could be a little bit different. Let's go ahead and change these up just a hair. I feel like they're a little too bright. So why don't we instead go into the options here. Let's boost the saturation a little bit. Bring the brightness down. There we go. Looks a little better like that. There we go. Looks good. We're getting a lot of that weird effect. And just like before, we wanted to show that there was some weird part of the ship that hasn't been taken over yet. So what we'll do is we'll place these stamps down like this. Let's change the hue a little bit. Let's make it green. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and place these down like this. So it kind of looks like it's slowly lurching itself to the rest of the ship. There you go. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and save. We're at 207 changes. I generally recommend that you save after about 100 or so changes so that way you don't lose your work. Because, you know, it's the internet and internet can sometimes give. And when it does, you want to make sure your work is saved. So make sure you save every couple hundred changes or so. I know some of you like to live on the dangerous side. 10,000 changes later. I laugh in the face of danger. Of course you do. All right, so we're going to let this save. And then we're going to do, we've been going for about 40 minutes. Let's go ahead and create one room. Okay, and now as always, when you're working on a room, you have to decide what the function of the room is. The function of that room, the first room, is the cockpit, right? That's where the pilots or AI or whatever is in charge of the ship's controls and major life support functions, whether it has defenses, all those things, right? So we got to make sure that we give each room a assigned utility, its purpose. So the cockpit, we'll go for another 20 minutes. and then we'll call it good. So I'll just work on one room so that way we're not getting bored to death here. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and lock the human part of the interior. And then we'll go ahead and select all the slimean stuff, create group, slimean, interior. For some reason, it likes the caps. I don't know why that is. Let's go ahead and turn that grid off. We don't really need it anymore. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the cockpit. So what we'll do is we're going to look up first the access part, right? So let's make a door. And I want to choose one that has kind of like an airlock feel to it. So I'll put one, there's one right here. This will work out just fine. We're going to make sure it's a layer above. Let's put this on top. There we go. So there's access to get into there, and then there's access to get into there, right? So you have those doors. And if you don't like the color, because I noticed that they're blue, you know, that's okay. You can go in, change the hue, make it to where they're green, purple, whatever it is you want them to be. There you go. Green, pinkish. If you prefer that, it's up to you. I'm just going to leave it like that. I kind of like the yellow. Yellow goes well with purple and green, so we'll keep those yellows. Okay, so there's access to get into here. Now we have to start putting the controls together, right? Let's go ahead and turn that grid back on, actually, just to make sure that I'm getting the scale right for the controls. I'd hate to start throwing down stamps and then realize my scale is off. So let's not do that. Open up the catalog, and we're going to type in controls. I believe there should be some... Nope, that's not it. Let's go with Human Alliance Fleet. Nope, that's not it. Human Alliance. Here it is. Okay. And I think there should be a series of controls in here. There's one right there. Consoles. Perfect. It's called console. This is a tiny console, right? It's only about 9 feet wide. Let's make it fairly big. There we go. We want a decent sized console. We're going to place it right here. We're going to make sure that it's set to the right layer. In fact, I just realized that I need to go into the human interior part. There we go. Let's work within that group. Let's go ahead and put this console is going to be at the front of the ship. And I'm going to change the hue because I'm sticking with the overall theme. Kind of a yellow. I like that. Let's bring the brightness down just a little bit. There we go. So now we have the console. In fact, I'm going to make it even bigger. There we go. Scale it up quite a bit. There we go. So this is the console part, and you're obviously going to want to have people manning that. So we want to get some chairs. Open up that catalog. There's a chair right here. Perfect. Let's go and put that down. Let's scale it. Look at the 5 grid here. There you go. That seems about right. Let's put in, let's see here. It really depends on how many people you want to be in charge. We could put 2, 3 in the console. Let's just put 1 here for now. So you have 1 person who's in charge of navigation. I really like to rotate the chairs in a random direction. So instead of having it be straight like this, have it rotate a little bit just to kind of break that up a little bit. And we can change the color of that later. Let's do all that stuff later. Actually, what I recommend in the future is just use an HSBC filter and then change the hue, and everything will change color. I just wanted to show you how to change the color. All right. Okay. I'm going to change the brightness a little bit too. Have that be a little bit darker. Let's go ahead and create a place for the captain to sit. So where do we want the captain to sit? So let's create something for them. Let's go ahead and let's expand everything in this pack real quick. And I want to create this idea of a platform that the captain is like sitting above, so he can kind of look down and see everything. So what I'll do is I'll create this kind of a platform. And I'm going to change the luminosity, make it a little bit, there you go. All right, so now we have this nice platform right here that we can go on top of. And then I'll throw down a captain's chair. The way to recognize the captain from the other team members or crew is to add a a chair that is a little bit more ornate, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit more crazy looking, right? Maybe those things will look nice. So let's throw one there. And we can even throw in maybe some commanding officers as well. So we'll throw in another one right here and another one right here. And we'll have it kind of underneath so it looks like it's being taken over. There we go. And the shadow is off as well. I'm going to change the custom shadow. Let's bring the intensity up. Remember that shadows is how you make things pop out. So those look like they all pop out a little bit more. Perfect. Let's go ahead and change that hue as well. Kind of want it to match in. Maybe not that color. There we go. I like that. That looks nice. Okay, bring the brightness down a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that platform right there. That's perfect. We can also put some railing behind it if you wanted to. We can look in this railing right here, and then we can use the line tool to put that together. So I can go ahead and turn off snap to grid. And instead, I'm just going to click, click, click. Click these like this. There we go. Press enter. There we go. So now we have some railing there on the back side. So that way our people aren't going to be falling off the platform at all. Let's go ahead and change the hue again. I want this to kind of match up. Oh, I like the purple. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah, I like that. Let's go with blue. I kind of like that. There we go. So now you've got some railing. And there's enough room for them to walk around, to move a little bit. If you feel like that's not enough, that's okay. You can totally rescale this to make this platform smaller. That's up to you. Just make sure that there's enough room for your players to walk around the platform, right? Let's also have some more fun. Let's add in some steps that lead down. We could have it look like the back part of the cockpit is actually raised up a level higher. So we'll go back to human interior. We'll take these stairs and I'll go ahead and scale them down and then just put it right down like this. So there's stairs right there and stairs right here, which you can't see. So it doesn't really matter if you put it there, but you see the stairs right there. You can even make it go up another level and just go maybe some stairs going that way down to there and another stairs going down like this. So it kind of looks like the players walk in through, come down these series of stairs into this area right here. Okay, and we're going to change the blend mode too as well because these are set to normal. We'll set them to luminosity so that they match in. There we go. All right, so staircase leading down into the cockpit area. You've got a navigator, you've got some commanding officers plus the captain. And of course, you want to have some consoles, maybe some controls that the captain and others are going to have. So maybe we want to put maybe some kind of screen or a console that's like attached to the side. So we could take this console right here and just like place it right here. So it kind of looks like the captain has some kind of display for themselves. We'll change that hue as well. Nope, we want to make sure that it sticks with the overall aesthetic. There we go, perfect. All right, and let's put another console right here. Well, there's a massive console right here. Should I put another one right here? Maybe too much. You don't want to overkill. Instead, let's go ahead and put the controls for the door. Remember, you want to have some kind of control panel, console, something that's going to open and close the door, right? Okay, where are we at for time? 10 more minutes. Okay, let's take a step back. I'm going to go ahead, just take a look at it real quick, see how it looks. Turn the grid off. Always nice to turn the grid off. We only have about 10 more minutes left in the stream, so let's go ahead and throw down an HSVC filter so that you can see what I'm talking about, changing its color. So add a new filter. You'll see color adjustment, CAF. That's going to be your color adjustment. And I'm going to change it to where the opacity is at 100%. And I can just click this hue slider bar, and you see how it changes the color of the whole thing. So if you feel like you don't like the blue yellow, maybe you want it to be green with this creepy reddish orange. I kind of like this. This is cool, right? This is fun. I can maybe make it this kind of a lighter green. So the color adjustment filters are really, really helpful when you want to change the overall color. And what's really nice is if you use complementary colors, when you change the hue slider, the colors will still complement each other because the original colors are complementary. So remember, if you want to change up the color of your ship or whatever you're working on, use that color adjustment filter and you can change it to whatever you want. I kind of liked the green, this color right here, because it really causes the red to kind of pop out, and I really like that. It kind of gives it a more scary feel to it. So I really like that, and we're going to keep that. So that looks really nice. We have all those console pieces put together. Yeah, this looks good. So then basically what you would do next is just follow the same principles in the next one. This next room, that middle room, would be like storage. Throw in crates, throw in maybe some railing. Maybe you could add a little a layer where it looks like there's a little bit of a platform on one side. You can throw in maybe a little mech robot, a charging station for your mech robots, whatever it might be, right? So be creative. Just remember that what decides what you're going to put in the room is the function or utility of the room. Remember, right? If it's the cockpit, it's going to be stamps that kind of represent, consoles, chairs, things like that. If it's storage, then you're going to use crates. If it's an engine room, then you're going to want to put together some pieces to create an engine, right? So there's a lot of different ways to kind of go about that, but just follow that process. Make the ship first. Once you've made the ship, group. After you finished making the ship, you can lock that group, and then you can start using the shape and line tools to start creating the interior part. So it's not complex. It's super easy to put together. You look at this. We did all of this in under an hour, and this ship is almost done. It's just that middle compartment and that engine room as well. So there is a lot that you can do. The tool is powerful. No more wall Tetris, so have a lot of fun. Don't forget to join our Discord server, okay? There's a lot of great people there who are really helpful. We're always there to help you out when you need help, so definitely go join our Discord. I'll make sure to go ahead and save this map, so if maybe people want to complete this map, want to clone and edit it, those of you who have Beta 2.0 access, feel free to clone, edit, use this map for whatever your purposes are. Maybe you want to finish it, but I hope you got the general idea on how to do ship building. It's not too complex. All right. Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate you being here. I'm looking forward to next week's stream. Please stay safe and healthy and merry map making, my friends. Auf Wiedersehen, okay?